Hey everybody, Carol here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am starting the 10 cards 1 kit, Simon Says Stamp July kit, and I'm just going to do 1 card today. While you're looking at the kit, the contents, I'll explain. I have just gotten through doing 5 cards. I was doing part 1 and I was going to make it 5 cards and finish the whole thing, and it disappeared, completely disappeared. So I didn't have the energy to do that all over again for right now, so I'm going to try just doing 1 card at a time. I may do one every day or every 2 or 3 days, so I hope you'll check back. I'm sure that I'll do more than 10 cards before this is all over. It's a nice kit, and I'm looking forward to working more with it than I have already. So I am, sorry about what happened, but maybe this is a better way to approach it. So this card is going to be using all of these different colors of yellows and golds and oranges. I split open the package of a plastic bag like that, with cutting off part of the flaps so that it's easier to open. I just thought I'd pass that on. You probably do it too, but in case you don't, it makes it easier to open the bag. But regardless, this is a die that's in the kit of a honeycomb. And then when you poke out all the insides, that's what they look like out of all of those. Those are all of the honeycombs I cut out, the hexagons, and then all the insides. They may look like the same colors, but they're not. Each one is a different color. Very close, some of them in shades of yellow, but different. So with the VersaFine on black ink, I'm going to start stamping the hexagons. There's a die. You saw all the dies that I made, the die cuts, but I'm also going to stamp and go all around the edges of this rectangle, and part of it will be stamped and part of it will be raised higher because it's a die cut. And so I'm going to make use of all of this and go all the way around, and have a little more time now with speeding. I do speed these up greatly, but not as much as I have to if I'm getting 5 cards in, so I can slow down a little bit here. But anyway, so I'm stamping these all the way around, and you can see I'm letting some of it hang off the card because I just think it gives it more interest and gives you more to work with and more variations. And so then those are the die cuts that I'm spreading around also. I'm going to go back and fill in some of the little blank spots. Not every single inch has to be covered, of course, but just whatever kind of fills in and makes it look good to you. And so here we go, and I'm going to start off by putting these little honeycombs on with my Tombow Mono Multi glue. I like it because it's repositionable, but I will use the other glue here in just a minute. That came in the kit. But right now I'm going to go ahead and stamp one of the bees, a couple of them actually, and cut them out roughly, very roughly. I like to do that so that I can play with them on my card. As far as placement goes, I can see where they look good, or if they look good, I can see if they're too big or too small for what I'm using them with. It just gives me an idea of how to work with them. Now I am going back and stamping them all on there, and you will see that just out of the blue, all of a sudden everything is painted, colored yellows and oranges. That part of my film got lost. I don't know. I looked up one time and I had a black screen, and so I didn't know how much I lost. Either that or I just didn't record it at all. I can't be for sure, really. And so I am sorry, but how I got that color on there was just several ink pads of different yellows and oranges with a stencil brush, and brush that on there. But of course you could use a makeup sponge or your Tim Holtz little round discs or whatever you want to use, and just spread it all around. And now I'm stamping this sentiment that says just because, and stamping it right in the middle. And so I will go back after a while and color that in. And so for right now, I'm going to color the little bees. I'm making them yellow with some little orange highlights. I even color in their little cheeks with pink. It's such a tiny thing, but it is noticeable, and I do think it makes a difference. And so color the rest of it with the yellow, and then put some little orange highlights, and just to add some color to it and heighten the yellow actually. And then I'll color the stripes on the bee, the yellow, and go back with a little bit of orange. Actually, and sometimes I use even two different colors of orange on the edges of the stripe, just to, again, just to give it some drama there. And then the wings I color blue or an aqua color, and then where the wings overlap, I make that little section darker because it would be with them overlapping. Now these Zig Millennium markers, I like, they come in all different sizes in this kit anyway, and I like to go back and go back over the eyes where some of the colored pencil might have gotten on it, and then also color in his nose. And then I started kind of by accident, really. I colored these stripes dark on one side, and then went over to the other side and started the dark. And then I thought, I kind of like that white in the middle. It kind of gives the feeling of a reflection or a shine, or just a light, the light shining on it. So I ended up doing almost all of my bees that way, just coloring black, a nice glossy black on both sides of the stripe. So now it's time to put it together, and I was just showing that I go around the edges, or at least on that piece, I went around the edge with a neutral ink and a makeup sponge just to give it an edging. And that and the black are out of my stash, but line them up. They're all just slightly smaller than the other. Put down the white. Then this pretty gold yellow that matches the bees really well. And this card, by the way, is a 6.5 by 8.5 inch card, which is kind of an odd size, but you can find an envelope to fit it. Now I'm putting the card down onto its base, and I'm gluing the little pieces of honeycomb off to the side. I can do that now. I can let them hang off, and I'm going to reposition it a little bit because the Tombow glue, once it dries, it becomes repositionable, and that's why I love it so much. I'll set everything aside to dry, and then I can go back and move it. Now the rest of them, I'm going to use this glue sponge that came in the kit, and I found the way to get the lid off the best for me was to stick my scissors down under the upper edge of that lid and kind of pry it off. Now since I'd never used this glue before, I started off with a really light hand, and I didn't get enough glue, so I had to experiment a little bit, and just to know how heavy-handed to get with the glue and how hard to mash down on that sponge. But once I found out what would work, it's really neat because it's not messy, and I mean, you'll get some on your fingers, but it's still easy to clean off and very convenient. So so I'm just playing with the placement of these little honeycombs. One of them I just wanted a little bit, so I cut it apart and cut a couple of little sections off. I'm going to stick it down in the corner and even use my long tweezers to help me see where it might look good. It's just easier than using your fingers, in my opinion. But anyway, so then that is pretty much it, except for coloring in the letters, the big old fat letters of just. So I had this little crude chart that I have of my Prismacolors, and I was picking out which one matched, which pencils match the colors of the card the best. And so it's very boring to watch somebody color, I know, so I'm speeding through this quite a bit. And but I think I used 3 colors, I'm not sure, just maybe 2 oranges and a yellow, or 2 yellows and an orange, just to try to give it some shading, even though it is small, and make it as interesting as I can. So that's what it looks like up close. You can see the bees up close. You can see the die cuts up close, and the brushing on of the color for the background, and the layers of cardstock. I hope you enjoy. I'll be back pretty soon, I think. Lord willing, and have some more cards for you. And I am sorry about the mess up, but I don't know if it's a computer or my editing software, but something went wrong. So anyway, thank you for joining me and hope to see you real soon. Okay, bye-bye.